Roll call, please. Francina Martinez.
Present.
Elena Minus.
Present.
Alan Pelican. Present. Bob Ritter.
Present.
Councilman Montoya. Present. Thank you, Chairman. We have one. Well, thank you. There's the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, I'd like to go ahead and introduce you to our new finance director, Mr. Morris Madrid. Mayor and council approved his position last council meeting. And Mr. Madrid has been a city manager for the city of Las Vegas. He has been a finance director for the city of Las Vegas. He has been a city councilman for the city of Las Vegas. And is very active, prominent citizen of Las Vegas. As I was involved with the both school systems and our community organizations. He does bring to the city with him two young adults, Anthony and Andrew, his two sons. Welcome aboard, Mr. Madrid. I want to, at this point, also thank Mr. Dominic Chavez for his assistance, probably for the third time as interim city finance director. You're an asset to the city of Las Vegas, and I thank you for taking the helmet when you had to, and we appreciate that. Any questions? No.
Congratulations. Are in order.
Next item would be the approval of the agenda. I am. You know what, before I do that, Mr. Madrid, would you like to say anything?
No, I just want to say that it's nice to come to a place that's not in crisis. I read your audit report. The city's in pretty good shape. They've made major improvements over the last 10 years since I was familiar with the city, and I'm impressed with the parts of the team that I've met so far. I don't think there's a lot that needs to be fixed because it isn't broken. We can make things better, we know. But I look forward to keeping up the good work that's been done, really. And so we can get better, we'll get better. But we have a good team in place. And part of that is to your credit. I know that Francina's been on this committee for a while, and when I worked with her, I get to see some of the reports that were filed and everything. Financially, the city's in good shape. Minor findings, common everywhere, and seeing it's already been fixed. So I don't really see any issues. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Madrid. I'll go ahead and stand for a motion for approval. A second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, none. Moving on to item number 5, approval of the minutes of March 18th, 2024. Did everybody get their minutes?
I put that we approve as written.
I'll second it.
First, Mr. Williams. Second by Nina. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, seeing none, we move on to public input. Is there any? No, sir. Next item of business would be item number 7, March 2024 finance report. Yes, sir. For the March 31st, 2024 general fund. We have revenues of 12,041,626, with expenditures of 10,068,634. for a surplus of 1,972,992. The enterprise fund, we have revenues at 12,862,101, with expenditures at 11,789,167 for a surplus of 1,072,934. The recreation center, revenues are in at 425,459, with expenditures at 470,474 for a deficit of 45,015. The lodgers tax, 490,000 in revenue, 490,430 in budget. Expenditures at 334,037 for a surplus of 156,393. And lastly, the cannabis fund, revenues in at 98,515, with expenditures at 2,442 for a surplus of 96,072. Any question?
I have a couple of questions. On the revenue side of the general fund, several questions. The last item called local miscellaneous, what is that revenue?
That, and I think we've gone over this one before, that stems from a stream of revenue line items. Anything that doesn't fall into the other categories, it's all combined into.
And could you tell me a couple of them? What would they be?
Example.
Sure. I'm following the generic speaking, so what I'm saying. Let me just export this.
Is that not what's in parentheses down below the bracket? Is that the typical thing?
Yeah. Okay. It's this license fees, business license, liquor license, and building permits. Development fees, local fines, court fines, library fines, and traffic safety fines.
I've always assumed that's what. Very big number.
They're under local fines and local facilities.
And the reason I ask is because that is like 500,000 over budget at this point in the fiscal year. And that's the second largest item listed there that's over budget, which is a good thing.
And is it because in your revenue chart of accounts, is it because there's not?
Yes, because if we were to detail it out,
Right.
it would be, I mean, I can kind of show you from my laptop around, but it's just.
What's the biggest one of the list?
I mean, I've got a few more. Okay, so, I mean, they're not all budgeted, but as you can see, they're 89. And basically, these top ones are the ones that are listed out. So what's a couple of those ones? What are they? A couple of those. These ones are the ones that you can see in the visualizer, like this property tax, franchise tax, municipal LCC, 75%, municipal GLT, 25, business registrations, liquor license, dog license.
So are those your heavy hitters? The ones-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything else that doesn't fit into these categories go into that. And if you all would like, I can send you the budget report itself that we get this information from.
Okay, I don't need that, but what I would recommend and that maybe you do is on that line that's just below the chart, you put local miscellaneous at the front before license and fees, business licenses and so on. Just to help my memory. The other large one is property tax. It's way over budget at this point in the year. Is it gonna stay up like that? i.e., are we gonna end the year, do you think, at a plus 1.16?
Well, it just depends on, how the constituents paying the taxes. Because, now at the beginning of the year is when they do it, and so that's why we see that large. Now.
Yeah,
100,000, I'm not saying 1.16 million.
well, if you take the difference between the budgeted amount and the actual amount.
Yeah, column C versus E.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, boy,
130,000?
you're right. I have a bad calculator.
You got one extra digit in there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay, my next question is down under the expenditures on the general fund.
Mhm.
If my calculator's right, it looks like the biggest underspending right now is the police department. Right? And, why is that? Is that mainly because they have a lot of empty
We have a
vacant
lot of
positions?
vacancies, yes, sir.
Okay.
Even I can answer that one.
Well, I see their report, at council meetings, and you can see all the vacancies that they have. Another large one is fire.
Same thing.
Same reason, they have vacancies too?
If I'm not mistaken, they just filled 3, so they have, 8 firefighters that are vacant. They have a deputy chief that's vacant. But a couple of lieutenants that are vacant. So,
Okay. All right. And another big one is general services. They've underspent at this point by 600,000. And is there any general reason for that?
No, this is a kind of at the leisure of the city manager. And,
Will you put your, under that point? Do you have FTEs up there as well?
no.
That's 1.6.
Or did you just estimate it high because the budget you did it because you had extra,
Yes.
you just padded it, so you had to put it somewhere.
And so, right on the same,
Yeah,
previous city
600,000.
manager wanted that loaded because they had all these thoughts and wishes that they wanted to do. So
Okay, well, that explains, the general fund issues that we're concerned. Thank you.
How soon after the county gets the money do we get property tax?
I'm sorry,
How soon after the county gets property taxes in do they get it to the city?
we get it monthly.
Oh,
Yeah, the county forwards it to the state, and then the state distributes monthly to the GRT.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because I have a property tax bill coming up, the second half. We all do, yeah.
Oh, April is a big deadline. Or May 10th, the past due.
Yes.
So,
Up to.
well, that's what most of they're quite.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? See? Dominic, on the cannabis and, what's the other fund, cannabis and,
Rogers?
yeah, are we investing that money and getting the interest? Yes. Yeah. Okay. We'll go, next item, letter B, resolution 23/13 bar. Yes, we are seeking approval of resolution 24-13. This is an expense increase, um, in the general fund. This was a project increase that was approved by mayor and council. And so as that was getting approval, I decided that we may as well just add this to get it into the second meeting, into the finance committee meeting. Had it not been approved by mayor and council, I would have pulled it from there. But is this to increase, the asphalt depth on Region Avenue, on Region Drive.
Where's the money coming from? Is that gonna be coming from the state matching funds? Well, the original project is coming all out of the city.
No, this one report gonna come out. It was decided to increase due to the weight limits on that road. The general fund.
Yeah. But the original money was
Yes.
capital outlay or matching funds.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the original was 3.8 and that was the 1.1.5 inch. Yes. No, it was 3.5 inch, asphalt. And, now that they've done into it, with staff's recommendation and myself, we recommend to go the 5 inches that it was originally designed for, but we didn't have the money for it. I guess so. Mayor council actually was a tiebreaker and the mayor voted for it. So we want to use out of the money. 2.7 million, the project. So now we went before mayor council that approved it. So this is gonna make that road, longevity a little bit more than twice as much. Instead of 15 years with a 3.5 inch, it's gonna be maybe a 30 year before we start getting pothole patches, hopefully. If we don't tear into it, for the utilities and so forth. But, it will still keep the same restrictions on the, but it'll last a lot longer. That 5 inch layer will carry us for 30, 35 years. Yeah, but might as well do it right. Make it last. So that's,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
yes, sir.
This 440,000 addition, that will use up some of the surplus that
Correct.
we saw in the, on the financial, yes, in the general fund, yeah, okay.
Yes, we are taking direction.
Good for you.
Day at a time, day at a time. Hopefully down the road, our city manager is aware that we need to sit down and, set priorities, spending some of that money. So we want to get our council to make that plan for this next year. Include it in the budget. Good. So that way we don't have to be doing bars and adjustments any more. Just include it in the budget and see what projects we come up with. And I literally set here every month in the bar. And some things we can't help, there's sometimes, funds will get cramped in employees or whatever the case may be. And it's neither here nor there, but since it's a resolution, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion so we can make recommendations to our council.
I move that we accept resolution 2430.
Your second. Second. Dana? All those in favor, roll call please. Dana Mass?
Yes.
Alan Blanken?
Yes.
Francina Martinez?
Yes.
Robert Witters?
Yes,
And Montoya? Yeah, I thought you were gonna say no. Vote twice. Motion passes and then it's, thank you very much. Repeat, March 2024, AP6 report. No, sir. We have,
skip one.
oh, I'm sorry. C. Fiscal year 23 audit report resolution. 414. Okay. Can't block my phone. Okay. Go ahead.
You want my copies, gentlemen? Sure. You want these copies?
I don't have a printer at home, so. Mr. Finance Director, I request a copy of the agendas in future.
Hard copies?
I say in the office. Go ahead.
We are requesting approval resolution 24-14. This is the acceptance and approval of fiscal year 2023 financial audit.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Please take a copy and send it over there. I don't know if I have enough. This is a page from the audit report. I think I'm on page 104. It's the page that's called Schedule of Cash and Cash Investment Accounts. I might have the wrong page.
Thank you. Okay, page 98. 99. Yes.
Online, I was having trouble tracking the page numbers and everything. So are we on the all on the same page here? Okay, so this is a report of how much cash the city has as of 30 June of 2023, last fiscal year. And this basically says that the city has $47 million in cash in the bank. And I have a couple of questions. I think I have handwritten questions on there. First of all, it says here that a lot of this money is not in any interest-bearing account. Is that correct? The only one it shows is the $5 million at the very bottom of the page. A time deposit CD, I assume that the city has. But all the rest are not invested in any interest-bearing account?
They all accumulate interest.
How much though? I mean,
I don't know.
because this report, the audit report says they're in non-interest-bearing accounts.
Make sure because they all go interest
How much?
on a monthly basis. I would have to pull the considerations to give you that answer.
But was some of this budgeted and this is what was it? Okay, was some of this budgeted, is it budgeted during the fiscal year?
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know how to.
Right. This schedule does include appropriated budget. It's just everything. So some of it is
Not hard cash,
budget.
all hard cash.
Right. But
It's
but
all
some of
hard
it
cash.
is, some of it is uncommitted. I think that's your question is, why are we not investing uncommitted cash? And that's
Well, first of all, no, my question is, why aren't we investing all cash? And is there a prohibition on restricted cash? The term that the audit report uses is that some of this cash is restricted, which I understand, because I think it's against certain grants and things like that we've got. Can the city earn interest
Yes.
like 5% a year?
And you're still, what you're asking is that we can invest more? Is that what you're asking?
What I'm asking is, if we're not making somewhere around 4 to 5% on these accounts at these two banks,
Can you look at the?
then why not? Why aren't we?
going back to your original question. The city cannot invest all cash. It's not practical because we need to make payables and payroll every couple of weeks. So we can invest that portion. Beyond that, we can look at the timing and see when that cash is going to be required and invest it. accordingly. For example, in a 3-month CD, 6-month CDs, the overnight investment account at the state treasurer's office is an excellent option because it's overnight every day.
And how much does that earn? My understanding is it's earning around 5%.
Yeah, and
And
so
so,
banks are between, I think between 1.5% and 3% right now.
yes.
So, you know.
So that would tilt me to recommend we invest at the New Mexico Finance Authority's
Yeah.
account, that they take money from governmental agencies, but we're not doing that, are we?
That has been a recommendation.
That we not do that?
That we do it.
How come we haven't done it?
Well, Bob,
We're getting.
Their hands full a little bit around here, I think. And that, and.
I know, but
you're absolutely right. You're
yeah,
absolutely right.
this is a quiz. What's 5% of $50 million?
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million a year
Yeah.
we could earn, and we haven't gotten around to do it yet?
I don't think the city has an investment policy. Do they? We do.
Okay, now I'm looking at you, Mark.
Mhm.
The charter says that the finance director will act as a treasurer of the city of Las Vegas.
Mhm.
What's one of the duties of a treasurer?
To manage investments and cash.
Thank you. Could you do that, please? Because I think the city is losing a ton of money because we haven't managed the investments. And then my second question is, how much of this cash could we spend on projects? Because if I look at previous pages in the audit report, there's a lot of unrestricted cash that's included in these numbers, which in my parlance, with my understanding is, we could spend that on projects, right? Is that correct? And we haven't. And I don't know if the council knows that they have some money here that they could spend.
Well, Bob, and that's, I'm not disagreeing with you,
I know.
but what I'm gonna say is that that's not the entire view.
No, I understand. And by the way,
Hold on, hold on. We're not finished. Yeah.
Because if you look at the audit report, you'll see a whole schedule of debt. And, you know, in consideration of projects and spending money, of course, you want to balance that with managing the debt. So maybe some of that could be taken to extinguish debt early to create other opportunities. So it's not entirely about what we have available to spend. That's my only point.
I understand. And I heard your point earlier that there is a need and a requirement for cash reserves.
Yeah.
So just like operating funds.
Yeah.
What's the legal requirement for cash reserves?
Well, it's not a statutory requirement, it's a BFA requirement, it's 1/12. And that's so you have 1 month of cash ahead available always.
It's actually 1/4.
1/4, okay. And
Okay,
best,
but,
and best
excuse me.
practices is about the same thing, 20 to 25%.
Okay. I thought the audit report said it's 1/12, not 1/4.
It was 1/12 for this year, I think. There was a change to the BFA requirement.
Oh, there was?
Yeah, I didn't know it was 20% though, but it used to be 1/12.
That's what the previous year's audit said was 1/12.
Yes.
I haven't read this one fully yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I understand we need to have that reserve in the cash on hand. But I think if you take out that reserve out of some of these numbers, you take out the money that is restricted because it's from grants and items like that. I think you'll find that there's a fair amount of money left over that could be spent for the needs of the city of Las Vegas. And my question there would be, like, you know, when can we figure that out and when can we start thinking about how to spend those funds so that the council can make their decision, make their vote?
We are working on that.
Thank
We are
you.
working on it. And I thank you for bringing us aware of, you know, the excess funding that's available You know, when we came in 2 years ago, there was minimal interest being created. In the city funds. Mr. Dominic has made it a point, to reevaluate those accounts. And he's bringing in some interest. I mean, it's not the interest that you want or that I want yet, but we're working towards that and we're gonna get there. We are gonna get there, I promise you. And I promise you, Mayor and Council will give direction before July 1st as to what projects they want this year to happen. With the excess of monies that we have. And we are gonna take staff's advice, and the city managers of this council. But we do have projects that we wanna do and move forward on it.
Good, and from my humble position, I would ask that the council consider on their list of possibilities that, one might be that you pay off the loan that's owed to the HUD. And in my mind, that would free up, I'm not sure what the number is, but I believe it's 250,000 a year. Is that what the city is paying? 150? Okay. A year that the city is paying to pay down that debt. And so that might be a consideration to add to the list. And my quick pencil calculations, which aren't always right, I understand that. There's a fair amount of money in the general fund that you could build a new city hall with, or at least really get a good start on it. New city hall, if that was important. And the council gets to decide that.
We're looking at all those options.
Thank you.
And, on the HUD portion of it, it's like the same thing with the 20-year loan that we got for the recreation center. I don't know, maybe you can research this, see if there's any penalties involved by doing so, by paying them off early.
I have,
And there is penalties.
there's no penalty, but just,
No.
whenever we got into these grants, the grant agreement indicates that you're gonna pay through the end of the amortization, period.
So what's the interest?
Doesn't have to be named an option.
And I've checked on several, especially fire truck was requested last year to pay it off. Looked into it. We reached out to them, and they reached out to our auditor, and the grant agreements for loan agreements does not allow. And I think you asked me.
So you're the expert on this. So if we pay off COD, what are the benefits?
Well, quite honestly, $3 million to pay it off right now versus sitting paying $150,000 for 25 years. I would leave it.
Is it interest free?
So,
It's interest free? Oh.
I would say,
Hold on a second. First time. So you see, that's my point. If we're not, if it's interest free and we get that 3 million, put it in the bank and gain that interest, then we have better. I mean, I'd rather make payments for the next 15 years than pay them off.
I would too, except, sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
I would recommend you do one more step. That the finance director picks up the phone and calls HUD and say, hey, if we pay this off,
They don't work out.
sorry, what amount less than what we're showing on the books
That's what
you would let us, and if the answer is same number, then I agree 100%. But I would at least make the phone call and ask him.
Never in my lifetime have I ever seen federal government do anything like that. It's against their law, it's against their beliefs, it's against their will. And if you want to go behind bars, I guess you can do that. They're sticklers. I mean, that's all I say. We're better off investing our money and getting our return and letting them wait for their money. Sorry to say it, but that's the way they treated us when they took it away.
I mean, you get to decide. You would save 150,000 a year to do that.
So I would gain 5% out of 3 million.
Yeah. Only if it's invested. How much is it earning now? Sir,
Well, we're at,
sir,
we're,
Sir,
I'd say 3%.
it's so close to that I'm betting, I'm just betting. What, 0.01% you're getting on the money, point out the percent.
Can you do the math on that one, just for the month of February?
Just the month of February?
For the month of
Yeah,
February.
so for the month of February, we had, I'm showing, on our interest revenue for all funds, 11,000. And then,
Counselor? See my hand, sir? Zero. Okay. And off my islands.
But it is an option. I'm not, it's up to my council if that's one of the items that we'd like to tackle. But, again, we'll take our experts' advice on that and come up with a list of priorities before hopefully June 1st and, decide, what we want to include in this next year's budget.
Just one comment on that.
Jeremy.
It's a double-edged sword to have strong savings, because it is, we're gonna see downturn. It'd be nice to have those. But I agree, when you're sitting on a bunch of cash that is not already allocated, and you go to the legislature and say, man, we need money for Rodriguez Park, we really need it, they're gonna say, huh, what? You have the money for other needs, so I think it's a good position for the council to be prudent. Let's just not spend the money for every project that is a pet project of each councilor.
Right.
Or the mayor, but,
We don't need a golf person? No.
oversight her pet project, okay, I vote no. But we need to commit, we need to make sure we use the monies and not have legislators pointing at us and saying, no, you're not getting
And I would heartily recommend, and it sounds like you're heading that way, Counselor, that you would spend that money only on one-time projects, not on ongoing expenses, because that doesn't fit the situation. And it sounds like you're heading that way.
And here's a word to sponsors. Any other questions? Resolution coming 413.
That's coming for 14. Just want to point out, I'm sorry. I'm going to use Chief Counsel. Page 108 indicates the title report we received, which is unmodified opinion, which means clean opinion. And then if we go over to page 113, we had 6 audit findings removed and 2 were repeated and marked up.
2 repeats.
Any new ones?
No. So we did,
Who was your audit?
Akil Brown and Hill. So Mr. Witters, I know that you haven't seen a lot of everything that you wanted to come out of me, but this right here is my test.
And by the way,
And so,
can you give me a paper copy of that,
I can.
please? I've used the online one, and I'm an old man. I crave paper.
And actually, 2 of those findings were
Thank you.
our own, the house findings actually. So.
But, yeah, that does say a lot for the, so. So report card.
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah,
And I think, Mr. McGurk can testify where we were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They was knocking on our door.
I told him that story.
And I'm surprised, excuse me just a second, on the items where an invoice is dated prior to the purchase requisition, they only found 3 out of 25. I know you shouldn't never pay an invoice before you've got purchase order and requisitions, but I would think sometimes there's hardly any chance to get a vendor to give you a price until the invoice. Quotes, bids, but I think it's a very clean audit.
and these things, they can be, avoided, they can, but, with the size of the city and the amount of paperwork that goes through and the types of fees that folks take, do, It happens. And so we do catch the individuals, and quite honestly, I could tell you the exact individual that these items came out of, but I don't think it's either here nor there.
That's a problem, we make changes that we had to make. In the past few months. Those things that we corrected and,
And also,
it didn't happen again.
I, just got this, the assigned RFP for audit services, so I'll be sending that out this week. It's been a little bit of a task because we don't have, our attorneys are not on site. And
So is this year one, year two,
this is year 3.
this was year three?
Yes. And
So
so we're
that
going
you
to-
exhausted then you can,
And we could have,
you could keep them, right?
yeah, we could keep them.
If you all chose to go out for it. Yeah.
They will be rebidding, I'm sure. I've spoken with the partner. I was just trying to get them here for next Wednesday, actually.
But if you're doing so well, why don't you run it?
That's my decision now. Comes to me. But, they will be putting in again, I'm sure. And, quite honestly, they have been so easy to work with, so professional.
They come on site.
Yeah, it's been a good 3 years. Always, if you switch auditor, a hassle because you're starting from scratch, right?
Oh, you don't want to get
They're trying to figure out your system and trying to figure out them and what information provided to them is gonna work. And so it's, well, you all, it's a world of task and now I've got some good help here. It's been a blessing to me. Mr. McGrib coming on is gonna help out a lot because trying to do this by yourself is not easy.
You know, so the mayor and council, on her behalf, you know, they have been keeping organizations and departments and directors, the assistance of the city manager in check. There was not a lot of accountability before I came. And we're still finding out some stuff that needs to be corrected, and we will correct it as I advise. There is a checklist going on, and we're gonna turn to that checklist. Because you all know, elections in November of 25, and we want to leave this city in a better shape than it was when we found it. And we won't, we can pass to another administration that she can get. Okay. And we're in the right direction. We're doing the right things. We're moving forward, and we have a police chief, we have finance director, we have city manager. You know, the only thing we lack is we don't have police attorneys that subcontract out to, but we do still need an in-house attorney. We can't, we got a new economic development director, so I don't like vacant positions. I think we're moving in the right direction. We got good people, and we're doing good things for the city of Las Vegas. It's gonna be a good year. We're working with FEMA. We've got an RFP going on. So, all those things matter. We're going in the right direction. Any other questions? Anybody? No? So I'll stand for a motion to approve fiscal year 2023 audit report, resolution 2414.
I'm commercial to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Robert Winters,
Yes.
Francine Martinez,
Yes.
Diana Manis.
Yeah.
Mr. Alan Franken.
Yes.
Motion has passed. We move on to letter D, March 2024, list report. Mr. Reader.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, at least I have one question.
I have at least one question. Page 9 is got the payment to Ben S. Nelson,
Mhm.
and its account code 269. What is account code 269?
I believe that's Carrie Petrie Foundation.
That's a fund number, isn't it? That's
It's a
not-
what?
It's a fund number, two
Yeah.
69. It's not a line item. It's 7108.
Animal shelter?
Yes.
Animal shelter?
No, this is Carol Petrie Foundation. They gave us a $15,000 grant. And, we are now trying to exhaust the tail end of it.
It's probably
It's for the
for,
animal shelter,
probably for,
veterinary services.
yeah, what do you call them, vaccinations, hopefully not euthanizations.
Okay, and it was,
Yeah.
it was originally 15,000. Okay. My next question is, page 32. It's a payment to Arnold Lopez. And my only question there is, why was this a check written as opposed to petty cash to him? The city does have a petty cash account, right?
Okay, where are you at?
Page 32, Arnold Lopez.
Okay.
No PO,
So I'm on page
the purchase items.
I didn't write down.
Mhm. I know what the case is. There is, they did submit petty cash, however,
It's, purchase the parts to fix HID, whatever that is.
Reimbursed for a blade.
A
purchase
blade.
of a blade for $21.
Yeah, $21. I mean, the whole thing is only 35.
35, 55 years.
Yeah.
So those were petty cash, forms that were submitted, however, like we discussed last time, we only had $300 in petty cash. And whenever these folks start submitting larger petty cash items, I turn them into a check request and cut them a check. And another thing for that is I'm trying to get them away from it, so they're out of pocket longer. So whenever they submit their petty cash form to me with their receipt,
Okay,
they can immediately come in and pick up the money. But because I say, we need to get away from this petty cash stuff, now you're gonna really can have a problem.
I think it's a good policy.
I agree, yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we just wrote an RFP for, these types of items. So we have Pat Romero's Hacienda, BTU, they're all on contract now. And so that's for these types of things. And there's also pretty strict restrictions on them.
Right.
That, they have to go on a rotation. And
Oh,
so if you're working on Williams Drive and you need pipe or whatever the case may be, and Hacienda's right there, if the rotation is BTU or Pat Romero's, you still gotta make that trip over there to stay in rotation.
okay,
And so right now, departments can only open up a PO of $500 per business, per vendor. And,
so that's the max,
yes,
not the min, okay.
and they have to follow the procedures on that because, it was getting out of hand.
Or you just have certain people that are allowed to go charge, like you're the supervisor.
Only 2 people per department.
Right.
Yes.
You just make sort of treat those 3.
Right.
For
And-
X amount of dollars, 1,500, 1,000, or 5,000, or whatever, for the voluntary. But only have certain people.
Right. And right now, just because we're just getting started on that, we don't know how to. Give them an inch, they take a mile, so right now, the budget limit to appeal now is $500. So these types of things have to go without. If Arnold needs to go and buy himself another blade, and he's over here on Williams, he's gonna have to go to Sacramento to make that purchase. So it can harder those types of things.
My next question is page 33. It's Holcomb Law.
That's
And my question is, why is that account, that's general fund 4,500, which I think is HR.
yes.
Why is that not 4,400 for the attorney?
The appeal was just cut out of the human resources.
I would guess that that's because it's related to union negotiations, which is.
Is there
Public
welcome law
resources.
does, is there?
Okay, she is, involved in union negotiations.
Okay. All right,
We just finished up fire. We're gonna start negotiations with that. So we just-
I think that's how it should be, that let the departments pay out of their budget. And then attorneys fees rather than just lump it all into attorney's fees.
Well,
How
it's,
do you
it's
know,
not-
how do you know who's utilizing it?
Well, we do have
What?
restrictions, we do have restrictions on that as well, and that's another thing that takes me a little bit of time. Because only 2 people can contact the attorney. So, like, for the year,
One of them?
no,
Oh, no. I was gonna say,
I would think so.
it's bizarre because, like I mentioned about the RFP for the audit contract, I waited an additional week and a half because so-and-so was out sick. So, and so it's just one of those things, and then the attorney has to go back to them, and then they have to come back to me, or to whoever, whichever. For instance, last week, the individual was out sick, and the attorney had questions, she couldn't answer the questions, so it just takes a little bit of time. So. That's why, as Councilman Montoya said, we need to get us an attorney on board. It makes it a lot easier.
Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
you do.
Hmm.
Okay, I have a question. Page 40.
Page
Page 40 of utilities.
my last question.
Hold on a sec.
Oh,
Page 40. And then there's more utilities on another page. So do we pay more than one?
No,
These are allocated from all the departments, correct? So each department pays on the.
They're deciding. Were they behind? They fueling also. Does somebody track that? I think it was like $11,000.
is that the Wex?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Is it normally 11,000? A lot.
It is a lot, PD, fire, those are always a lot. Fire, all the engines are diesel.
Do they turn in receipts? How does,
Yes.
do you have some type of a
Yes,
system in place?
individuals
Where
are
your accounts payable is saying,
To
okay,
log.
this cost, this when he turns in the invoices.
yeah, account payable
Just-
doesn't.
Somebody-
Usually will have a main focus is on the audit.
Yeah.
Because it's a big control issue.
I know, I know.
Yeah, you know.
That's why I'm asking,
I review those,
just to make sure that, you know, your audit person, your auditor person.
the,
You have some type of system.
the CPO provides me the monthly report.
Mhm.
I review every single transaction. I've caught people, well, and then 2, we're supposed to use regular letters, not premium or anything like that, so I have to slap a couple of hands on that. We had one officer that was new that decided to go wash his car over at Better Stop. So things of that nature just don't fly. And if something like that does happen, they're required to send a memo to me and to the purchasing office, indicating why, and then this money is not gonna happen.
And then last month, we had a question on payroll where there was a journal entries that were voided. Does somebody, anytime that you have a journal entry query, does somebody else sign off? Is there a second person that signs off on the journal?
If you did the journal entry, I have to review.
Right.
Yes. And then you can enter it.
Mhm.
But yes, it's always.
Somebody, for those 2 people that sign off on the journal.
Absolutely. Even my name just.
Awesome.
Still.
my last question is page 52. Angelo Roybal. And it says it's replacement of a floor. And it's charged to wastewater, I think. What is that? For page 52, Angelo Roybal, and it's for $2,052 and a few pennies.
So I can,
Sewer backup. City responsible. As if I was a betting man.
What's the name of this business?
Would it be helpful to send a list ahead of time? Or no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Wheeler's, this for our next meeting, maybe, you have quite a few items, submit them beforehand. And that way they have, research and they can respond more appropriately.
I will try to do that.
We're not utilizing the imaging on title yet. So you could actually look at the requisition and see what the justification was if we knew before the meeting.
okay. The floor in the wastewater treatment plant. Superintendent's office.
I thought Angelo, there was a residential. Customer.
Need to upgrade tiles that are broken and missing at the wastewater treatment plant. Superintendent's office.
Okay.
What's the business?
Thank you, Becca.
Actually, we've always put it in. No.
Business.
One last question though. What is it?
No, I'm done.
Good?
Sorry, I'm done.
No, it's Angelo.
Any questions?
No, I got mine.
Thank you. Mr. Madrid, do you have anything else to add?
No, if there's any other requests or reporting that, committee would like to let me know. Yeah, just kind of detailed, good, but as you said, Mr. Chairman, if, you know, it may not even be an issue for a meeting, just answer the question and.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it also shows that we are looking at the expenditures.
Yep.
Okay, so that's sure with our first.
You're here to ask the
Yes.
question, and we're here to answer them.
Yes,
That's what we're going to do.
there is transparency.
Mr. Chavez, is there anything else that you want to add?
Not at this time, sir.
Any questions, concerns? No? Thank you. Good. Final. And with that, our next meeting is scheduled for May the 13th, at 2 p.m., same place, same time. This meeting is now called adjourned.
I move we adjourn.
In a second.
A second.
It's clear. All right.
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none. Have a great day.
Thank you. Give you the sign.
Sure.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Rankin.
Don will just bump into you on the streets once every 5 years.
I'll be here in town and be.
All right, all right, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
There you go. Hopefully we can win some money there, Bob.
And as maybe you've gathered, my hot button is all that cash sitting in the bank. And we made $11,000. That's all.